Everyone's making their predictions as to what the new DLC for Streets of Rage 4 actually contains, so I wanted to throw my 2 cents in the hat as well. But first, run that intro. So let's start with this image right here. First of all, we have Dr. Zan in the foreground. He's looking like himself. A lot of people are saying that he's looking kind of sinister here, or he's looking like he's evil, or that maybe Mr. X has possessed him. I don't really want to jump to any conclusions, because if y'all remember correctly, in Streets of Rage 3, Skate jumped to that conclusion as well. He didn't trust Dr. Zan because he was mostly machine. So as far as this image right here, I have no idea whether or not these heroes are voluntarily going into this simulation, but if I had to make a guess, I would imagine that it was by choice. Now, what I mean by that is, here's my prediction basically for the overall story. Now, keep in mind that this DLC, from a narrative perspective, it can go one of 100 different ways. There is so many different directions that the developers can take this direction. So this is just my opinion. So whether I'm right or wrong, or sort of right or sort of wrong, it's all in good fun. I'm just kind of speculating at this point. So here's my thought. I'm thinking that something crazy occurs in Wood Oak City, or something appears that is threatening the safety of Wood Oak City. So here's the thing, further speculation leads me to believe that this threat is going to be of the robotic variety, simply because in Streets of Rage 3, Mr. X, and it was pretty much a robot army by the end of that game. So I think something is going to occur to threaten the city that is of robotic origin somehow, and Dr. Zan comes along because, you know, as we all know, Floyd is his apprentice. So for that reason, if Zan is evil, I imagine Floyd would be aligned with him to some degree, unless he's just that naive. I don't think he is. I don't really like to judge the intelligence level of video game characters, especially because I don't really know a lot about them. So that aside, I'm starting to ramble. Sorry about that. Anyways, back to Zan. I'm thinking he comes to the heroes with a plan or strategy to input them into the memories or the brain data of Mr. X. What I'm thinking is that they have to dive into his brain and go through all of these obstacles that he's set up with his brain data, which are kind of like sort of fail safes to protect some sort of secret item, which represents computer information or some sort of like kill code or something like that in the real world. It's kind of one of those virtual reality sort of tropes. Like, you go into the game or some sort of simulation, get something, come out, and that thing that you got in the simulation is like, you know, a code or like a password or some sort of like super secret data that's been encrypted or hidden in some like random corner of said simulation. I'm kind of thinking it's that sort of a thing, because first of all, I don't really see Zan becoming evil unless the backed up data of Mr. X's brain, which, by the way, like, let's be real here. What are the odds that Mr. X is gonna dump all that money into turning himself into a robot and then a brain in a can without backing himself up? I'm pretty sure that this information, or this brain that we're seeing on the screen here, isn't a physical brain, is basically what I'm saying. One thing that makes me believe that is just simply the shape of the container or the canister that he's in. It's like a pyramid type of deal. So it just looks like something that's sort of simulated or holographic, or it's some sort of like housing unit for the data, just because you guys have seen like the Marvel movies and stuff like that. There's some sort of weird holographic or some sort of like representation of the AI or the computer or whatever it is they're speaking to. That's kind of what I think is going on here. Also, I'm pretty sure that they're not going to just, Zan's a bad guy, woo, no one would have guessed it. That just seems kind of silly and arbitrary to me, especially after going through such great lengths to prove that he's on our side in the third game. Now, that doesn't rule out the fact that it's very possible that Dr. Zan could have been possessed or taken over by Mr. X's brain, and, you know, he lured the heroes into putting them into the simulation so he can do away with them and just do as he pleases throughout Wood Oak City, because You know, it's kind of silly that Wood Oak City's the end game for a lot of these bad guys, but I mean, you all got to start somewhere, right? You know, it's probably world domination is probably next. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, Bare Knuckle 3 actually had a very different storyline, which was, the stakes were a little bit higher in that one. So I'm getting distracted again, sorry. That's pretty much my prediction for that part, is that they're going involuntarily and Dr. Zan is a friend and Mr. X has something hidden within his brain that they need to get and that they need to go in and get it. And he just basically is spawning all these goons and throwing them at you so that you don't get it. That's pretty much it. I don't really want to spend too much time on the new moves because basically all we really have to go on is what they've showed us. I mean, I could go into like the finer details as to like what is a star move, what isn't a star move, whatever, you know, all that nonsense. But you know, there are other videos out there that have already done so. In fact, I'm going to recommend one right now. Major Players, they actually cover a lot of beat 'em ups and just a lot of games that I myself would play in my free time, and they have actually quite a few videos just talking about the DLC. They have a live stream that's recorded that where they talked about and discussed the details. They also kind of broke down the individual characters that were shown in the trailer. So I'm gonna include the link in the description below, so go ahead and check them out if you feel so inclined to, because I'm not really gonna get too much into that stuff. I will say this, the new moves look super fire. Whether or not they're star moves or specials or blitz moves, that all remains to be seen. I'm thinking like defensive specials and offensive specials are going to be the ones we're going to be able to trade out, and star moves, of course. I'm not necessarily sure about blitz moves, but maybe, who knows? It might be, maybe charge moves as well. They said character customization, so that just kind of remains to be seen. I'm excited either way. Now, before we move on from the move sets and the new moves and stuff, I just wanted to clarify something, because I didn't want to make it seem like we don't know anything and that they didn't reveal anything from the trailer, because they very much did, and you can glean some details by taking a closer look. I'm just saying Major Players goes into a lot more detail as far as that goes. For example, you can tell like what move is what, or you can make your speculations. There's a good amount of information here in the video, but they do a much better job of diving into that sort of stuff. So definitely check them out for that. I will say this as well, playable Estelle looks like a lot of fun. Her gameplay kind of almost reminds me of like an FGC game, like Marvel or something like that. It just feels like with these new updates, it feels like the game is going to be more Marvel-like, and the moves are going to be way more over the top, more flashy, more beautiful, and just all that good stuff. And I am so ready for that. Estelle, she looks great, and I feel like she is the reason why we have the character customization, because all the other characters now have to be brought up or skilled up or built up in order to match just the craziness that she will be capable of combo wise. So that for sure, that's kind of just like one of my theories as far as like this DLC, why they added character customization, which is just, it's something that I've personally never seen in a beat 'em up before, aside from, let me think, God Hand, I believe. You can make your own moves and sign different moves and combos and stuff like that. That game is on a whole different level though. So anyways, character customization, new moves, super fire. One thing that I am very, very much looking forward to is the survival mode or endless mode. This is one thing I feel like every beat 'em up should have. If fighting games have survival mode where they just have you go through and just beat as many opponents as possible, all beat 'em ups should have this as a game mode just by default, simply because beat 'em ups were kind of derived or born from fighting games or vice versa. I forget like which came first. That doesn't really matter to me because they both take inspiration from each other. Anyways, survival mode, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, especially with some of these buffs that I'm seeing on the screen. I'm not really going to try and guess what they are necessarily. Some of them seem a lot more obvious than others. Like for example, there was one that looked like it was a star move type of thing I'm led to believe that the character, it'll let you use infinite star moves, or it'll let you use a star move after, hitting a certain threshold of some sort, which was kind of something I was hoping they would add to the game, make star moves like a gauge that you have to build up, as opposed to it being a pickup that are pre-placed throughout the level, because it makes them really finite, and it makes them, I feel like for that reason, I didn't end up using them a lot. Now, granted, there is the ability to get additional points at the end of the stage by not using them. However, I feel like that could have been remedied just by allowing you to bank the star moves, like, you know, maybe carry up to 4 before you have to start using them in order to, you know, start reaccruing that gauge. Either way, survival mode, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time in. And I know a lot of you combo maniacs out there are probably going to be spending a lot of time in here too and trying to come up with different infinites or just different combos just in general. That's one thing I just really love about this game, is that they really nailed the combo system. And it's really easy to pick up, but there's pretty much endless fun to be had in trying to master it. So survival mode, I am so ready for this. So I'm not sure if the simulation or if the survival mode includes these kind of retro levels, but if I had to guess, those are going to be making a return as special stages, unless they decided to go the extra mile and just put full Streets of Rage 2 levels in the game, which would be so dope. I don't know if that we're gonna get all of that though. It might just be a single screen, you know, encounter, do the encounter, you're done. Or if it's like a survival thing, which would be the same thing, I would imagine, because a survival mode, it looks like for the most part, it's just gonna be a single arena or a screen, and they just have you fight as many goons as you can and get as far as you can. I'm not sure if there's going to be levels to it where you can just advance to different zones, or if it's just going to be in a single area. That's going to remain to be seen. However, I really hope there's going to be a lot of customization to this, like being able to do modifiers and different things like that. So, and if that's the case, I really hope that star move variant, or the star move system, or the groove as it is I hope that's an option. If not, that'll be fine. Doesn't matter. I'll take whatever these guys give me at this point, because everything they put out so far is gold. Now, aside from Axel and Estelle looking cool in this last little screen panel thing right here, it looks like there's a silhouette of an individual with long hair, and I'm not entirely sure who that is. There's speculation that it could be Shiva. However, if you look in the bottom right hand corner, that hand looks a little small to be the hand of like a martial arts master. You know, it very well could be Shiva, but I don't know. It might be like some secret boss, or it could be, I have no idea actually. Like, I thought I knew until I took a look at that bottom right portion of the screen just to the left of the .timu logo. Yeah, What do you guys think? And of course, the infamous last screen, the slow reveal that they're going to do. This tells me two things. There's going to be at least 2 more trailers to showcase these 2 characters before the release of the DLC. And I mean, it pretty much tells us who they are. That's definitely a silhouette of Max in the middle. And the last one is Shiva. These are the 3 characters that have been most requested to be made playable, and it makes the most sense to make these 3 characters playable as opposed to, I don't know, grown-up Skate, which I hate to say it, I don't know if we're gonna see grown-up Skate. We might, but we're probably not. So yeah. Anyways, back to these 3. It makes sense because they're already in the game as bosses as well. So as far as playable characters, if I recall correctly, they have somewhere around 1,000 frames of animation for playable characters. And then it said 300 to 400 or so for enemies. So I'm assuming bosses have a few more frames than that. However, not as many frames as a playable character. So to make bosses or enemies playable characters is going to be a lot easier than, you know, just creating a whole new character from scratch, if that makes any sense. It makes sense to me, but I don't know. What do you guys think? That's going to pretty much do it for my DLC speculation. I've never really done one of these before, so I don't really know how to format it. So whatever format it ends up being in when it hits video form, like, either I'm sorry or you're welcome, depending on how it turns out. Yeah, so that's gonna do it for this video, you guys. I'm gonna get out of here and start editing this audio and just on top of some video and all that good stuff. But in the meantime, I have been sort of streaming on and off on Twitch, just kind of as a casual way to wind down from work. I've just been generally playing a lot of Streets of Rage 4, and I'm probably going to continue to play a lot of Streets of Rage 4. So sorry, I'm not really going to be a variety as far as when it comes to Twitch. It's just kind of something I do for fun, just to kind of hang out and stuff like that. So, you know, if it picks up, it picks up. But I'm just trying to leave a lot of the variety and diversity to the YouTube channel, whereas I just kind of do whatever in my cool, chill, fun time when I stream. So feel free to check me out. It's on Twitch, twitch.tv/NeroTheHero, and NeroTheHero is spelled interestingly. I am sorry, I'll probably end up changing it just for the sake of ease, but at current it's N3R0 THEH3R0. And again, that is N3R0 THEH3R0. You know, it would be a lot easier if you just go over to that address and just follow me. So that way you don't have to memorize the link, and then we'll just notify you when I'm going to stream. I haven't really streamed too much lately, but I'm trying to pick that up tomorrow or possibly over the weekend. So, all right, this has been another long outro from me. So I'm going to get out of here for real now, you guys. Until we meet again, take care of yourselves and each other. Do something heroic today, and always be in pursuit of something better in life. This is NeroTheHero signing out. Peace.